Good evening to everyone. I'd like to welcome you all to the first meeting of 2020. Happy New Year to all staff, board members. Thank you for being here this evening. Notice is hereby given of a regular meeting of the Board of Directors of the district to be held at 105 Port Road, Port Isabel, Texas on the 8th day of January 2020 at the hour of 5:30 p.m. for the consideration of the business of the agenda below. This notice is posted at the office of the district on January 2nd, 2020 at 1 p.m. in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code 551-041-551-050, not less than 72 hours prior to the time of the said meeting. We do have the presence of a quorum. At this time, we have present Board Member Houston, Board Member Dr. Lalonde, and myself, Mr. Friedman. Absent, we have Alex Avalos and Jason Starkey at this time. If I may please have everyone stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Carlos.
Heavenly Father, we thank you again, Lord, for this opportunity, Lord, to gather and do water district business, Lord, with our board members and staff. Lord, we just ask you that you guide us and lead us throughout all these decisions that we make today, Lord. And we ask you that we can get more knowledge and wisdom of being healthy this coming year, Lord, and also for the district to continue being healthy in the budgets and financials, Lord, that we continue to do better for our customers and for everything that we do, Lord. We do it for your glory, Lord. In Jesus' name I pray and thank you. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. We may please go ahead and proceed to item 3, invitation to the audience for public comments. Board, staff, anyone at this time publicly like to discuss anything?
Well, yes, I do have Jose Garza from the wastewater treatment plant has acquired the B license.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, we're happy because he hasn't been here too long, but he acquired it pretty quick. So congratulations to, he's not here today, but
Yes.
we'll let him know that we presented to the board.
Congratulations to him on behalf of the board and exceeding.
Thank you. Yes, I'll let him know.
Anything else? I'd like to welcome Board Member Starkey to the meeting. Thank you. Let's proceed to item 4. Consider and discuss for possible approval the minutes of the regular meeting on December 18th, 2019. Has everyone had a chance to read the minutes? Questions, comments about anything in particular? Otherwise, approval for everything?
So moved.
Motion to approve by Mr. Houston.
Second.
Second by Dr. Lalonde. Are all those in favor?
Aye.
They are. None opposed. Motion carries. Thank you. Moving along to item 6. Consider and discuss calendar for the upcoming bond election.
Item 5.
Item 5. Consider and discuss. Oh,
Yeah, that's
excuse me.
5. Yes.
Consider and discuss. Item 5. Consider and discuss for possible approval of the minutes. No, that's fine. And then item 5. Consider and discuss calendar for the upcoming bond election. Excuse me.
Is Charles on vacation?
Oh,
He's up there? Okay. He's the one that has the calendar for that. I wonder why he didn't make it. You can skip and then move forward to the other
He
one.
walked in and walked
He'll
out.
be back.
He might be in the restaurant.
He'll be back. We can go to item 6 if you'd like.
Let's go ahead and discuss item 6, please. We'll proceed and come back to item 5. Item 6, consider and discuss water save app update, please.
I asked to put that on the agenda, and the reason I asked was because over the holidays, I went to a few parties and asked people, and I didn't run across a single person that had actually put it on their computer or on their phone. They knew the meters had been changed out, and they knew some vague things about it, but they didn't know what the process was as far as what benefits this new metering system could accrue to them if properly applied. And I know Eddie, mentioned that he's putting a couple of lines of verbiage in the bill telling about it, but I don't read it. I mean, I look at the amount of my bill and then I toss it. We've got to get the word out. I mean, that was $2 million plus, and the abilities of people having that control over their water through their phone or their computer. If they don't know about it, if they don't use it, then they're gonna have a hard time, someone asking, is it worth it? The rate increases. So my suggestion is, and I've suggested this before, on card stock, in color, English on one side, Spanish on the other, you tell about it. You also tell about how you can load it on your iPhone, because in the proper sense, it's not an app. You have to go through a couple of procedures. And I actually had to come into the office here to get it loaded on mine. So it's not so simple. But if the public doesn't know about it, then, you know, we're selling ourselves short. They're not getting the full benefit of it. We gotta let them know.
Public's not getting the full.
Yeah, that's right.
Why don't we, if I may jump in and make a comment, why don't we make what they call a rack card?
Yes.
Card stock, rack card, like a postcard, a long postcard. You can mail it to every account holder, also insert it into the bills in a couple of months, and we can give them to the municipalities to include maybe in their trash bills, include in their utility bills, like Port Isabel, I know they have that, and get that out as much as possible, and encourage people to come to the office and get assistance if they need loading it into their phone or updating or any help we can do, or call them and become extra customer friendly and invite them to assist with whatever we can to get them that information.
And
Yes.
especially when we're going to these different organizations.
Yes.
To sell the bond issues, we can take those cards.
Rack
with
cards
us. Yes.
and pass them out.
Yeah, if I may just give you an updated report, I just pulled these numbers just a few minutes ago. We have 1,427 people that have signed up, and that represents 21% of the eligible accounts for the district. So
We need over 60% to really be effective. That's
Right.
Yeah, I mean, the WaterSmart tells us compared to other municipalities, we're doing very well getting people to sign up in the short amount of time since we've registered. We've done a mass mail out. We've done a mass email communication as well, but I think there's always room for improvement. We could
Has there-
There is.
Has
do
there ever been anything in the paper?
in the
I don't think so.
newspaper?
Yeah,
No,
newspaper.
no, sir.
I would say, why not? I mean, that's a big deal. Sort of like, you know, when we reduced our taxes 2 years in a row, that should have been in the paper.
And we
Okay.
can still do that
We
one
could work
too,
on that.
because we're in the low side now, so
Yeah.
we can still do that, tax.
those
And,
are excellent.
Yeah.
We're not taking
Okay.
advantage of that.
well, we try to improve, like Eddie's mentioned, get more people in there that sign up. So whatever it takes, that's a good idea, what you all mentioned. We'll do that and try it out and put it in the paper also. So, thank you all for that. And
the
Alicia
ability-
will help us out too.
And the ability of paying their bills online, especially for out-of-town people. That's very important. But out-of-town guests knowing, you know, that they can track that water usage at their place.
Yeah.
If it's a vacation rental, is a big deal.
The alerts.
Yes.
The alerts especially.
Yeah, that's right.
Someone's using their hose bib outside, or there's a leak somewhere, or something. That's a very big deal to get out. Any other comments? Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Houston. Let's go back and revisit item 5. Consider and discuss the calendar for the upcoming bond election.
Oh,
Charles?
that was my item.
Just schedule
Okay,
some-
I mean, I guess I can, it's the, I mean, I know there's a schedule that McCall, that Noah Valdez had sent out, or do you know when this was received, or?
Yesterday.
Okay, so, yeah, I guess we should run copies, but basically, you know, as far as the bond election schedule, the last day for governing the body to adopt an order calling for the bond election is February 14th. So, I mean, we have to have this proposition ready for the February 12th meeting to stay on schedule. And, I mean, basically, in general, to prepare for that, to prepare for that, our next,
It's basically 5 weeks.
yeah. I mean, from our bond committee meeting we had yesterday, we're looking at our next meeting being held on January 20th. And Noah Valdez will be attending that one, so we can start getting the wording, the language prepared in that proposition. I mean, we pretty much have a mutual understanding of the projects. You know, we're looking at the water plant, you know, the elevated storage tanks and the water distribution improvements on the islands being the request. And so it's a matter of, you know, getting that proposition language put together with the approved engineer's report behind it and taking action on February 12th.
I'm not exactly comfortable cutting it that close.
Okay, unless we want to move it to the,
Could we have our meeting like for February on the 5th and the 19th?
yeah.
I mean, I had a horrible nightmare the other night that someone slipped up and we missed the date.
So you want to,
Well, we can change the schedules on the regular board meeting. If that's what you're talking
Or
about.
just, I don't know, I
Earlier.
might be the only one, but I just think,
When's the deadline again?
February 14th.
and our meeting is scheduled to be the 12th.
Yeah.
I will not be here the 19th, I know that, but it doesn't matter.
Well, the February 5th, are you in town?
Yeah, I'll be at the 5th, the 19th, I know I won't
What
be.
we can do is the 5th better.
Yeah, the 19th will be too little too late, but yeah, I mean, the 5th is,
Yes,
As a-
let's definitely, 5th, move the meeting to the 5th. And you're probably gonna need a workshop too.
There's a workshop on that meeting also?
I'm sure you're gonna, I would definitely have a workshop to
Yeah.
discuss the bond issue. Doesn't hurt to schedule it.
I think that's a good idea.
yeah,
You
and
schedule a workshop?
When or how?
Yeah, like why? Like,
Just discuss the bond issue,
Just like-
clarification. I'm just to put it out there. I'm not,
Just-
no
just-
agenda for it, but.
I didn't know if there was like a mandatory, oh, you gotta have a
No,
workshop.
no,
No,
no.
it's-
But just a good idea to
As
discuss.
a board
it.
to sit and
Yeah.
discuss, you have to have a workshop.
Okay. Makes sense. As opposed to just talking about it during our meeting.
Well, you can't take action on the workshop, but
For discussion.
communication flow.
It's just extra time to talk about
For
stuff.
legally.
That's what I was-
For-
Makes sense to me.
for
Let's do it.
discussion.
Speaking of legally, in regards to this topic, Brian, what's legally, am I allowed to attend any of these workshops with our community members after we have it physically, I guess after February the 14th? You know, are board members or employees? Because I know there's law around what I can or can't say in regards to this bond.
Not a quorum.
So as long as there's not three of us, we can attend, or give me, I guess,
Yes.
sorry to put you on the spot, but I guess give
Yes.
me some direction around what is permissible and what is not permissible.
For you attending one of the committee meetings, as long as, what we have to be concerned with there is the Open Meetings Act.
I understand that part.
So as long as there's not more than two board members at the committee meeting, it doesn't represent a quorum. you
Okay.
know,
Yeah.
And that's what we have to.
Because I know we're not allowed to speak pro or against, right?
And then.
Like I
and
can't be
then-
holding signs on election day. yeah.
As
Right.
far as restrictions for advocating, my understanding is that you all do not have restrictions.
Just
You guys
employees
Are
of the-
elected officials, yes. You don't, you're not considered resources of the district.
Oh,
right?
okay.
But we as paid employees, we are considered resources of the district. So the way the law is we can't use district resources to advocate for the bonds.
Yeah, I think
So
they understood.
we are district resources, you guys are not. So you guys can advocate because you guys are elected officials, you represent the community.
But there's a difference between advocacy and information.
Yes, we can
You
give
as employees
information.
can present
Yes.
information. You just can't go and say, you know, we really need you to vote. You can't do that.
Okay.
It's only that we can present facts that are like the
Understood.
propositions and all that.
Information.
But Yes.
That's
Careful
about
how
it.
you present the facts, you know.
Factual information.
But really, the only time they would be doing that is for that committee that we created, right? All right, that's all.
so I guess, yeah, well, now you have that detailed schedule that was handed out from McCall. And then, you know, we're in the last months to get
As
everything.
Mr. Houston said, it's cutting it close. We're 5 weeks down to the final,
Right, and as far as
final decisions of what we're doing. And the final request, the final,
yeah, I mean, should we have, yeah, I mean,
5th
it's-
makes most sense. I mean, we got 5 Wednesdays in January anyway, so it's like the natural order of things, go every other Wednesday.
Yeah, the 22nd will be our next meeting. If looks like the engineer's report draft version will be ready for distribution tomorrow. I mean, are we allowed to send a copy of the full set of board tomorrow, or does that have to be delivered through a regular board meeting?
The copy of what?
Of the engineer's report for the tax bond or for the proposed bond election? I mean, is that something that could get distributed tomorrow, or would it have to go
Yes,
through a board?
I believe so. Why not? It's a
I mean,
report.
no agenda, but yes, that's what I would
Right,
suggest.
just a report of the, I guess.
I think so.
Yeah,
I mean, I
okay,
don't-
so we can already get that in your hands tomorrow, so you can start reviewing it, and then, bring in some comments on the 22nd if there's anything we need to revise, and have the final ready for the 5th.
And then we'll have the workshop on the 5th, about 4:30 would be okay? 4:30?
That would be my recommendation.
And then at 5:30 thereafter, we'll have the regular
Standard meeting.
board meeting, February the 5th.
That would be my recommendation.
Okay. Does everybody agree with that? Yes.
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
Thank you.
I guess that concludes our part.
Thank you, Charles.
Thank you, Charles. Moving along to item 7, consider and discuss videos on presentation update.
I also asked to put that
Yes.
on the agenda. Now, I know we've done a video on the wastewater treatment. We've done a video on the freshwater. We were supposed to have done a 3-minute or short video as a teaser. Has a teaser video ever been made or finished?
Would that be the one considered the last one that we saw yesterday?
Yes.
That's a
All right. So we got these things, and what are we going to do with them? And when are we going to do it?
Okay. First of all, once we made minor changes on the last one, the 4th one, made minor changes, and once we get the original back, we're gonna set it up with our, let me see, that one's, I just don't remember if it's exactly saying about bonds or anything like that, like, probably not. It's just the water treatment plant
I sent it
comparisons.
to our attorney.
Comparisons, and that's it. So we can put it in our website, and then Facebook, I think we can do that too. Just the comparison of water plant 2 and 1. That's the last video that we saw yesterday. And
See, my
then
thought
once
was-
we
let me
go to
add-
the,
Let me include, my thought was that we were going to produce these videos, have a short marketing video, go to the community, whether it be the city commissions or the chambers of commerce, and for informational purposes, show the 3-minute, tell them they can go to the website, see the big videos, but basically as a prelude to the bond issue. Now, we also got a video on the bond issue. So we're going to have all these videos crammed up in a very, relatively short period of time. Whereas I was hoping to have the wastewater and the freshwater thing already out in the market, so to speak.
that one should be out there already at the website.
I just sent the videos today to our attorney, our bond counsel, to review them to make sure that they were okay as far as, to be sure that they're not advocating for the projects.
Okay.
But there has to be a plan how to use this.
Yes.
You can't
And,
just produce it
what-
and hope it gets out in the community.
Well, the last one that we have, the short one, we do plan to show it at the city of South Padre, Long Island, city of Portsmouth.
Are you going to
the
show that though?
communities,
Are
yes.
you going to show that at the same time as you show the video on the bond? Or is that 2 separate presentations?
There's going to be 2 separate presentations because we cannot cram everything in
No.
one meeting. So we'll do one first and then the other one will be separate.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
With all the presentations that need to be made, you can't really wait. I don't see how much longer you can wait before you get out with that first round of videos.
So we do plan to have some presentations this month.
Okay.
Okay, South Padre starting, and then we also have Independent School District where they have a meeting once a month also. So we have a lot of areas that we are going to do the videos and presentations. with our engineers also.
And that's another item that needs to be in the paper as far as these videos being available on the website to view.
On the website and advertising advertising the website that they're on available for view.
And I'm working on a schedule to see what the actual times and agendas that we're gonna be available to do that with cities and the cities, and then the chambers, the Rotary Club, POWs, Independent School District, and a couple of others.
Yeah, see, the
So
school
we're gonna do
district
that
only-
schedule, and
yeah.
then
They meet once a month. I
Once a
mean,
month,
there's not
right.
that many meetings.
Between May, for the end of
right,
first
but
of
no,
May.
between now and May, there's like 3 or 4 meetings. And we can present a little bit here, a little bit there, and then whatever is left, we can go back again one more time. But I believe, to me, I think there's plenty of time to do all that still
Well, the election's the first Saturday in May.
in May.
So you basically got January, February, and March. You got 4 months.
And that's the best time to
And a couple
be showing
meetings.
the video
Yeah.
right now, starting now.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's, once I finish the schedule, I'll let you see it and.
No, I'm sure they're good. I've seen them. I've seen them. They're good.
Yeah.
They just need to be out.
Who presents them at these things, at these activities?
My IT guy here.
Yeah, but who stands
We're
up?
there, we're
You?
there.
You
Yeah,
go?
we're there. And then our engineers are gonna be there the first 3 meetings, then after that, we'll take care of the rest.
Now, he's talking about not the.
Like you go to a school board meeting?
Yeah.
Or
You're not talking about the
I'll
bond
be,
issue video.
No.
I'll be talking about the needs.
Yeah.
Showing the
Yeah.
video, and he's gonna be there to help me out.
Yeah, he just turns it on, but I want to know who our voice
And
is.
You
then,
can go to it.
and then, thereafter, there's another video that
You get signed up.
the engineers have to present to.
Stood up
And that'll
before.
be at another meeting, not the same one, but another meeting.
But it's best
I
that
don't wanna
Carlos is
cram
there, he
their
can
time.
answer
No, you shouldn't.
Yeah, right.
And members of the bond committee that take it from local districts.
They're willing to be with us and support us.
Great.
But no, it is encouraged that board members go and show. I'll go to some of the meetings.
Good, thank you.
Show the support and shake hands.
He'll get this bond issue passed.
Yes.
Are we closing item 7? Herb?
Yeah.
Thank you. Let's move along to item number 8, District Engineers Report. Discuss bond planning committee meeting held on January 7, 2020, and frequently asked questions for proposed tax bond.
Yeah, on the bond planning committee, a lot of it was just starting to talk about how we're going to be getting out there. I mean, some of the main points were, maybe identifying key members in the community that we know are active on Facebook, or they're kind of movers and shakers, and maybe we have certain people within the committee approach that individual to, get them to spread the word, and that kind of thing. I mean, and then just kind of looking at different tactics with how we're going to be presenting to the cities. The presentation that's attached that Teresa Nichols will give today is intended to be given at the various commission meetings, or property owners who care, if they have a meeting scheduled, try to get on the agenda there, so on and so forth. And then I don't know if we want to add any more items from guys who attended the meeting yesterday, or
Very little, very few.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, we did have
we'll-
light attendance.
We'll send out the minutes to everybody
I
anyhow.
like this a lot.
Okay.
I like this a lot. And if you can take that, maybe on the back page, put the numbers. So where you just have the 1-page handout,
Okay.
rather than 6, 7, or 8 pages. The frequently asked questions could be separate, but I like this a lot.
Yeah, yeah, and then we're going to be posting these where we can, between the poster and the project descriptions. Keep some in our lobby.
Is that finalized and printed,
Um,
or is that just one?
well, I mean, it's one copy. I don't know
Yeah.
what
Yeah, it's one copy that we put together as a draft so we could get comments from the committee. And there were a few, clarifying where some of the project locations were on the map, some of the language on the poster. Overall, very positive reception, but we're going to make those updates and then have phone posters to take to the different interest groups and community meetings so that people can look at them there. And then it would be the same poster flyers to include the
So this is draft?
Yes, yeah, for very close to final though.
Okay, great. Who should I talk to about a small edit afterwards? You?
Yes.
Tax increases for the year, annual, correct?
Yeah, oh, yeah, as far as specifying it's an annual, like $48, that sort of thing?
I mean, we know that, but.
Yeah, I know, that was one of the comments that came up at the committee meeting.
Looks outstanding.
There's a different word than increase on it? Did somebody suggest a different word than, you can find a euphemism for tax increase?
Euphemism.
Yeah.
Can you see me after the meeting and explain what a euphemism is?
That would be like family investment, something like that, something better than tax increase, or
Right.
family investment, just little things.
Community investment.
Yeah.
That'd work.
Ooh.
Yeah, and on the frequently asked questions, I mean, it seemed finance gave some good input. I don't know if you want to maybe give some input on the first part of this.
Do you want to go through them one?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, there's some frequently asked questions.
Someone stop you.
We do have some responses. I don't know how much detail we want to get on this discussion.
Herb, what do we need to know? What do we miss?
What,
Hey, on number 3, you say my water pressure is inconstant.
I'm sure that means it.
Better than incontinent.
Yes, I would think it's inconsistent.
Yes.
So this is definitely a draft that needs comments, so
And
that's
if
where
you
we're at.
remember last night when we talked about the desalinization, we talked about just including that briefly in the talk about how we could expand because we had the real estate in the future, if the need be for desalination or water reuse or whatnot. Don't dwell on the desalinization.
and that's the part the engineers are gonna take care of for us. They're gonna have,
The presentation's been modified.
Right.
Even incorporates some of the comments from last night already. So the presentation you'll see this evening is pull that decel slide out. Something discussed, but it's not.
thank you.
So yeah, that concludes the report unless there's more questions.
Okay. Thank you, Charles. Let's move along to item number 9, presentation by Freese and Nichols for the 2020 tax bond project proposal from cities and other stakeholders in the Laguna Madre area. Welcome. If you please just state your name for the record.
Yeah, it's already been, yeah.
Good evening, I'm Charles Kacherka with Freese and Nichols. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Charles.
Appreciate y'all having us here this evening.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Back in December, if you remember, we gave a presentation on the bond program. It was a lengthy presentation, a lot of technical detail. We provided that to y'all. We also provided that to the bond committee. What we've come up with is we've been listening to them, understanding what they want in each presentation, and then also understanding that we're going to be providing this presentation to municipalities and in public meetings. So what we wanted to do was trim the presentation down, kind of simplify things, really hit home, and not draw the meeting out because we are going to be limited on time. So pretty much kind of get in, give them the facts, and let them go home. So what you've seen is kind of a pared down version. We did have the bond committee meeting last night. We got a very positive response from the committee members. We also received a lot of great critiques and comments, which we tried to incorporate pretty much all of them, or at least most of them. So what the presentation that you're going to see tonight will be a little bit different probably than the presentation that you have in your packets. So we've kind of gone over all this multiple times with y'all for the sake of best use of y'all's time. Wasn't planning on presenting it formally, but we can go through each slide, kind of discuss it, see if y'all have any comments, and then kind of go through it that way. Because sometimes we may be presenting it, sometimes Carlos and his team is going to be presenting it, sometimes it may be jointly presented. So it's going to vary a little bit, but this is going to be our presentation to the public.
That's fine, more or less.
More or less.
See what happens now.
Delayed response.
Yeah. First up, we're just going to open up just our objectives and outcomes. We could possibly add a photo or something to this slide to make it a little bit more vibrant, but more or less, we just want to discuss, we're going to be talking about the system resiliency, what pretty much what these projects are aimed to correct and improve Daniel's water system. Then we discuss how the district and all the entities that they supply water to, more or less give you an idea of everyone, just the vastness of LMWD's water system and all the systems that we're trying to improve. One of the comments last night was to make sure that we include Long Island Village, so we added them last night or this afternoon to make sure that we had them involved as an entity on the map, because I believe they have a pretty good voting block. I think it's to make sure that we include them. This is a chart just kind of discussing, where we are present day of what y'all's water demands, and that, hey, we are trying to meet the future peak demands, which that's what we're trying to signify by showing the increased demand in 2040, that we are going to need more capacity in y'all's system related to the water treatment plant #1 improvements. And this was an improved slide from last night where we made the graph a little bit more clear, easier to read.
Let me ask you a question. The dotted line where you say system firm capacity. Now I can figure out what that means, but I don't think a regular person can. What?
We could change that to needed capacity to meet the system's needs.
But I mean, can you see what I'm saying when you say firm
Projected
capacity? That almost sounds like I've got it. I've already got it met.
Right. Well, I think what we can use this as, right now we're at 11.5. That is our present day capacity. What we've got to do is improve the system to increase it to the 15.3
Projected need or something.
per 2040.
And that's average daily, or is that peak?
That's peak.
Or summertime numbers?
Right.
That's only just a small, short window
Yeah.
to get to that.
But I might change those words in there.
Okay. Yep, we'll see how we can do it. Maybe we can label things a little bit differently.
What am I looking at? Like, what is this?
What you're looking at is the water demand in million gallons per day.
Mhm.
So 2019, we're right at 11 or so. Is that what?
Okay. So that's right where we're at right now.
Right.
Okay.
So then in 2020, 2030, 2040, just because by population projections that need of water per day.
We're basing those
increase
projections on
based on land use,
growth trends, or,
growth trends,
like
yeah.
layman's terms,
Right.
like
If
you
keep
will
growing,
be
like
among,
you've
if
been
not
growing.
the most educated person in the room. Make sure, because like right now, I'm up to speed on a lot of this. Layman term as it gets, like just make sure that, hey, this is what our capacity is right now. Like if nothing changed, this is what we're capable of doing. And with our growth projections due to growth trends recently, we anticipate by the year 2040 we're going to need this much. And
Right.
does this make sense? I mean, I know it makes
that-
sense.
that
You're a
makes
great
sense.
presenter. Like,
Right.
bring your A game, because I'm sure
Right.
you come at a cost too. That was going to be one of my follow-up questions: is how many presentations will you be given as opposed to us be given, and have we looked at that? Because I mean, I'm all for bringing in the A team, for
Yeah.
the big meetings, but I'd hate to waste him on a meeting with 10 people sitting in there,
I just
like.
requested 3 meetings from them for South Padre Island, Long Island Village, and the city of Laguna Vista, and the rest will give.
Who's allowed to speak?
Thereafter,
Like, can
we'll follow
Dr.
the-
Lalonde go in and give this presentation, or
Who's that?
can Dr. Lalonde go in and give it, or no? Preferably not.
Preferably that's coming from.
These two? All right.
Anyhow,
preferably.
He's an eloquent speaker. Coach Starkey's not too terrible either, but I'm just saying if that's going to look bad on our objective here, then never mind. Back to my point, though, just
Right.
MGD, all this stuff. This is where we're at. This is where we're trying to go. This is
Yeah. No, that's a great comment.
I mean, and we're not the only ones building, but
No, but I mean,
yeah,
how many homes do you think we're building?
in 10 years,
10 years.
5 years, I mean, 10 years, hopefully 600. And that's just me, I'm not,
No, I know, but I mean, that's how it trickles
Well,
down.
Heights is expanding.
and I know that, again, like, we know this, it's just like, depending on our audience, we need to meet them where they're at, make sure that we're adequately articulating, you know, the need, because I'm telling you right now, the committee that we've assembled, everything I've heard has been all positive things about their, I mean, everyone that's called me is all on board, they're all very appreciative of your time and the communications, and I know Mr. Houston and Chavos was there, just like, it's all heading in the right direction, but we need to take it from that room to filter it out to, it sounds like we got 8,700 clients, roughly. If 21% is 1,741, we're around 8,700. Yeah, so we got to get it to them. All right, sorry to cut you off.
No, it's all.
I mean, you're a great presenter. I mean,
Well, we're not, well.
you're not giving it to
I'm
me
not
right now,
representing
though.
you.
I got you. You're just kind of flying
But
through.
no, your comments are dead on, and we need to, as engineers, oftentimes we just speak in engineering terms.
Mhm.
Everybody
Mhm. I'm aware of that.
That's not correct. And so your comments are, well taken.
And you might mention with both water treatment plants online, not just the one.
Mention what about that?
Well, right now it just says water treatment plant number 1 online, but actually to make that capacity, both of them have to be online.
Sure.
That's the idea.
Right. This slide is just kind of opening up the 3 projects that we're going to talk about, just in general.
Mhm.
Hitting on project number 1 first, the water treatment plant. What we want to discuss here is more or less that you have water treatment plant number 2 that's working right now. Water treatment plant number 1 is currently offline, but may come in line in February at a reduced capacity. And water treatment plant number 1 is where we're proposing the improvements to increase water quality, but also capacity to meet future demands.
That's where you'd mentioned, like, it doesn't, like, what's our filtration system there, and like expand briefly on how the quality is going to improve. Like, we have a microfiltration at this plant. When this one comes online, right now it doesn't have a microfiltration, which, you know, when we're talking about improving it, smell, taste, all those things that you hear come up, you know, in the taverns locally, right?
Right.
Just hit those, and you
Okay.
will. I know you will.
Very good.
Don't mean to be Captain Obvious in the room.
No, it's all taken. Again, this is just what this project brings to the water system. It's pretty straightforward. And again, these would be talking points where we can bring in, okay, how are we going to improve water quality? How are we going to meet future demands?
What does redundancy actually mean?
Right, and how it provides it.
And why that's important. This is great.
Project number 2, there'll be storage tank improvements. What we talked about is the existing, the Buena Vista tank, the Portisville tank, the new tank. This is 3 tanks that are involved in this project.
Decommissioning 2 and creating 1.
Correct. So we got Port Isabel. What we want to indicate is that it is currently offline. This is one of the comments. Mr. Houston, I think you made a comment last night on this one, where what we want to do is indicate that the existing tank is offline. It is leaking. We need to do something about it. Buena Vista, limited storage benefits.
Very
just a
small.
tank.
Very small.
Part of control, operating doesn't really have much benefit. So total elevated storage by 2040, again, going back to those growth projections, is 1.74 million. What we have right now is 1.63, if all the tanks were online, which we have tanks offline because they're in poor condition.
This is just a small point. We're being pretty nitpicky, but I would move my decimal point 2 to the right. Those numbers, they look really small, even though I know they're 1 million gallons, but people will process that differently. If it's 8, it wouldn't be MG at that point. You know, that would be.
Or, yeah, 80,000.
Would you like 80,000 better, or would you like 1,000 better than?
I don't mind 1,000, but I think 8 and 174 and 163 people can make that mental balance quicker with those numbers than the decimals. It's just me. I wouldn't go 80,000 and 1, I wouldn't put the whole number there. I'd go, 8, and then comma,
But you
TG,
could put the
1,000
whole
gallons,
number there,
or
too.
174 TG, something like that. I don't like the
One-
decimals.
Well, we could add zeros and make them in 100,000.
4 more zeros, that's it.
Yeah,
Somewhere in between. I would go 8, 174, 163. That's how I would do it. I think decimals are confusing. I think too many zeros get confusing. It's just Brian's making some very serious faces.
And this,
I'm just thinking about it.
and this question is, for me, does this improvement potentially improve water pressure in any of our district? Or are the two unrelated?
No, it will increase pressure.
Will increase
I
pressure.
say increase pressure. It'll help make more consistent pressure.
Stabilize our pressure.
Stabilize.
So you won't have, lack of pressure certain times a day and pressure the other. Right. I would definitely mention that. And otherwise, you're doing a great job.
No. Keep it
We'll
up.
tell you 3 things on this slide you got to change on.
We're getting our money's worth
We're here to
tonight.
listen, we're here to learn, so. that's what
This would happen. I haven't been to a meeting in like 6 months, so I'm excited to be here. Thanks for laughing.
Okay. So what we do want to point out is that we already talked about water treatment plant number 1. What we want to highlight is that the proposed elevated storage tank will be on it's proposed to be at the new water treatment plant number 1 site improvements. Again, we talked through the improved water pressures, reduced maintenance and life cycle costs because we're taking 2 tanks out of service, putting 1 tank in. It's brand new. It's a brand new tank, so it doesn't need to be maintained. It's kind of fixed. It doesn't have to be fixed. So it kind of resets the life of that asset. Which I know asset's another one of those words that we're not supposed to, one of the engineering terms that maybe we'll find a different word to use. Also provides additional storage for future water demands. We want to hit on that. And so we kind of talked briefly about how we're not meeting demand and how we're showing that with all the new tanks, with the new tank, will exceed the current demands.
Why are water tanks important? Like what? Why are elevated water storages important in infrastructure? Serves water like?
From a pressure maintenance standpoint, it would be one thing if it provides more consistent pressures, pretty much where we're restoring potential energy. The pump increases the pressure inside the tank, is what's providing that volume. So if you have peak flow, say lunchtime, everybody's cooking, or early in the morning, everybody's taking a shower, everybody cuts on their faucet. If we didn't have those storage tanks and that storage water up high, the pumps don't have time to react to get that water out of the system. Whereas the tanks, it's already stored and it kind of buffers that peak where you have water before the pumps can catch up.
Understood. In times of crisis, do they serve a purpose as well?
Yeah, so if your pumps go down, technically you can't push any water, you can't provide any water. Whereas your elevated storage tanks has that potential energy. You have pressure, you have water, even
Pushes
though
the water down.
you have no water coming into your system, it's stored in your system. So if you have a large fire demand, things like that, that's what buffers that. And if you have an outage, you have water there.
Probably a storage of between 4 to 8 hours, maybe. Stored in there for any purpose.
Depends if my wife is showering. Go down real quick. I got a teenage daughter almost too, so.
So it's in
yeah.
hours, not days?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll buffer that one too.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Project number 3, the Laguna Boulevard 2-inch water main upsize. Again, this is another one we're working on the island, so we're kind of working through where we're showing that pretty much everybody has an area of impact within your system that we're voting through. So what we're going to do, be talking about the new water line that we're going to be installing, as well as the 16-inch water main installation at the causeway. And we'll drill down on those. So reduce project costs, kind of hitting on what it's going to what we're gonna do. So on the project cost and agency coordination, what we want to hit on is that it's the project that we're doing for the 2-inch water line replacement is kind of based on timing, to where we can jointly bid the project ahead of them redoing Laguna Boulevard from a pavement standpoint, where the district's not having to pave it, or we have an old water line under a brand new road that we have to dig up later. So it's kind of but through agency coordination, we're gonna be able to save on cost. Minimize service interruptions. This is due to that providing that bypass, because right now you only have one water line going to the north. And so what we want to do is provide a bypass near the causeway where you have some redundancy there. After this point, you have redundancy, but up to this point, as is, we do not have redundancy. You lose that line, people don't have water source.
And define those people, like it's like the rest of the island doesn't have.
Minus the elevated storage like we talked about.
Mhm.
But yes, we don't have a use, we don't have to store water. And this provides system resiliency, we kind of discussed that too. And then what we want to do is talk about the total cost of the project. Water treatment plant number 1 is obviously the big ticket project.
This is where we should be using decimal points, right?
Yep.
It's only going to be 2.23.
This is one where I'd go 23, 390, and at the top have a little M that indicates it's million. It's just me. And it would not be how much does this cost. It would be like community
Investment.
Point.
Because it is an investment.
Yeah. It's not a cost, it's an investment.
Community
You
investment.
must be a Democrat.
District
That's all
investment.
we say. No taxes, they're making investments.
I am apolitical when I sit on this board.
Great answer. Wow, you're 2 for 2.
I wear my MAGA hat.
I would do, I would consider, throw it at the committee, but same thing.
Sounds good. And these numbers are all accurate except for number 3, which I think is going to go up 400,000, 500,000.
Ouch.
Based on some additional valves that were identified for replacement. There's quite a few broken valves and damaged valves within the system. So we'd like to include that in that project.
28 million is the total, is pretty much the focus number.
Yeah, don't stay on this page long, would be my only
Yeah.
2 cents. We should be gone already, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Here's cost split.
but in all honesty, maybe that a little abbreviation that we have on that nice marketing page that we have, like, these are big numbers that we're talking about, but this is how it relates to your household.
Right.
Maybe take that to committee, bounce it off them. Do we want to show what the annual is? Do we think that would be beneficial or not? But yeah, I wouldn't stay on that slide for more than 5 seconds.
You think it would be beneficial if we showed that previous one?
I see it,
But we
yeah.
add
That's the one
table
Yeah.
that sells
right
right
below
there.
it.
'Cause that counterbalances,
That's the one that's
yeah.
So
important.
what if we put that table right
First?
below?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Right
could do
below
that.
the
And that's
total
not
cost.
so
Whereas
daggum
even though
big.
This number's big, this
Yeah.
is what you're actually
Yeah.
looking at.
Family investment, and then that's the community investments.
You like that? Okay.
Notre Dame Ed, man.
Just to balance out what apparently was my Democratic leanings, we need to get, there's nothing in here that makes me fearful, and we know Republicans are good at stoking some fear. The Democrats, they've been doing it this week too, right? We don't know.
All right.
Let's
Anyway.
keep it apolitical as stated.
I think we need a slide closer to the start that gets me a little bit nervous as an observer, that why do we need this? You know, something that really spells out, like, I mean, we don't need to put pictures of deserts and parched humans, but I don't get at the start, somewhere in the first 5 slides, this is what will happen, this is where we're headed, and then you can spend the rest of the presentation why we're going to make a change. You know, why.
What's going to get their attention?
Yeah, there's one slide like that, the one that we started critiquing this with the firm, you know,
The water
the
demands.
firm one. But there has to be a slide in there that just spells it out, like 1, 2, 3, 4. These are the real concerns that we have as a district, and why we're trying to make.
The cost the cost of what this will be if we don't have the bond
Yeah.
election
Whatever
passed.
the grabber is, but I agree with that. There needs to
More,
be something.
you know,
The scare tactic card.
more
yeah.
things like where, you know, the
scare
hotel,
card.
hotel was out of water for the whole, you know, that day in the summer. Sure, it wasn't necessarily because of these things, but there should be some, you know, we have to stoke that fire a little bit, I think, and rightfully so. That's why we're spending hours and hours and hours going over this.
Yeah,
There
well,
are
one-
real concerns.
And one of these projects addresses those outages, I mean, in terms of having that.
It
Or
does.
sol- or
Yeah.
fixes those
The
problems.
redundancy, the moving where the line is, so that I think we really need to spell it out there.
Most people do not realize that the Port Isabel plant is offline.
Hmm.
Right, yeah.
We have to tell them it's offline because it doesn't meet the requirements
It's not up to
of
date in
water
code.
quality
Yes.
that we want.
It's not up to date in
Standards,
code.
doesn't meet the minimum standards, or whatever the reality
Well,
is.
It's minimum standards, but it's not what we're doing. We're doing a whole lot better than
I do
minimum
too,
standards.
I understand. There's a shark in the water, like we gotta grab, what's the attention grabber?
Don't give me my objective before you create the need, right? Create the need and then tell me how you're gonna meet it. Don't tell me how you're gonna meet a need I don't know I have yet.
Well done. Saying else, that was good.
It's the purpose of these workshops. That's what these workshops are.
I've been going to Pirates Landing and they got a lot of stuff out there that makes you hungry before you even sit down, so. That's when I go out.
By design.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe, I don't know. A lot of people on the beach, mass amount of people, picture, something.
Zombie, get a zombie in there somewhere, yeah.
But just a reality check. All right, where are we at?
Now, talking about the bonds and things like that, Eddie, might need your input on this. I don't know how much, I know there's some rules, legal aspects of who can actually talk about bonds.
I'd leave
Is
that
this
out.
something we can discuss, or is this something?
This slide right here, it really doesn't need to be in there. If we're selling a tax bond, you don't even need to be talking about revenue bonds at the same time.
Yeah, I would agree with that also.
Okay.
as well.
There's an option? Yeah, that's gonna confuse the,
Yeah, I mean, we have some projects that our revenues are paying for, right? So, and then we have these other projects that we're asking our taxpayers to approve for a tax bond.
yeah, and I think we did a really good job of differentiating
Yeah,
between the
those are
two,
two
because we're not
revenues.
asking the tax
Mhm.
to pay for things that's gonna need to be fixed, replaced before the daggone bonds even, you know, I mean, I think everyone involved did a great job of differentiating between the two, and therefore saving this bond from being way too high. But I agree with Mr. Houston, which hardly ever happens, to remove that slot.
Okay. Yeah.
The previous one, that one.
Okay. As far as this one goes, you're talking about the tax history where, you know, the taxes actually have been lower. I don't know how.
I think that's, so this, yeah, this is the
We're
tax
just
history.
showing where the tax rate was a few years ago and where it's at now, and if this project was approved, where it would go back to, which is
Slightly higher than where we were from
yeah,
11
slightly
and 12,
higher.
10, 11, 12.
If this chart is supposed to show tax history, you shouldn't show the uptick in 2020.
Agreed. I'd
Right.
take that out.
Totally agree.
Okay.
I thought.
Another good point. Yeah, the point we're trying to make here is what? I mean, we've been going down, guys, so if there's ever a time that we can absorb a little tax increase, it's now.
I guess we could point out that once, on this slide, we get it, once this is paid off, your tax rate would go back down.
Yeah, that was one of the things that I was trying to illustrate with this.
Just
is
cut it
that
at 19 and you'll look a lot better.
when the project-
Unfortunately, you'll have
when the
other
project
demands,
is
so
paid off, it goes
Yeah,
down.
it's hard to
Never really
predict,
goes
exactly,
down.
yeah.
Well, that 2012 to 2014 can explain that same, occurrence.
That's true. That's true. So we can use that drop there to explain that the projects, the tax rate goes back down when the project gets paid off.
So in 2013, y'all paid off of the bond. So I would think that would show history. Okay. On this side I get here, I guess we can move that table like we mentioned. The service area property taxes, is that something we want to leave this in or put it on a full slide, take it out?
I'll leave there the opinion for the.
Just a table.
South Padre Island has different city taxes, Laguna Vista has Port Isabel, so I mean,
Yeah.
That pie chart just represents how much of somebody's taxes they're paying to the district. If this tax bond was approved, it would go up from 2%, which is currently when people pay their portion of taxes that's coming to the district. It would go up from 2% to 4%.
Yeah, no.
That's what that pie chart represents.
Remove, right? It's confusing. You want them to focus on the question everybody's eventually going to ask. How much it's going to cost? Remove that line uptick. Lots of property value.
I'm not sure if this is a slide that we want to end with, because this slide will be gone, and then we go to, are there any questions?
Would we put that before the investment? Like the,
I think you want to end with what's it going to cost.
Right.
Or a really well thought out joke. Goes a long way.
So pretty much, we want to scratch those last two,
Yeah.
and just end with cost, and
I think.
When you can circle back to what you start with, whatever you grab their attention with, then you just, you bring it home with, this is the solution for that. Like, whatever we got their attention with and got them to sit up in their chair, like, shark's coming, this won't be an issue. When
One
this,
thing we need to do is, when we need to make these presentations to South Padre Island, Laguna Vista, Port Isabel, I mean, you go to Port Isabel City Hall, there may be 4 people in the audience. South Padre Island may have a dozen, depends on what's hot. It's gotta be talked up, I mean, it's gotta be promoted to get people there and not just the people that sit in the big chairs.
and I think that's where our little subcommittee comes in. Like, we need to really preach that to them. Like, you know, I know for the ones I've picked, you were chosen for a reason. Because you're an influential, educated member, you know, upstanding member of our community. And they represent all of our district. So if they could all reach out to their constituents or hand, you know, then we can fill that room like Mr. Houston's saying. And then we can bring in our A team.
Right, and I know that South Padre, Laguna Vista, and Long Island Village will have a big audience. I know that once we talk about this in the agenda item, they're going to be there. And that's what happened the last time. South Padre, we had a big audience. Laguna Vista had a big audience.
yeah, Port Isabel had a good turnout, but you know, there was the property tax league was present, you know, stuff like that.
And once we do the property POWs, South Padre, it's like 200 people there. It's a big audience on that one. Rotary Club is like 40, 50 people there. But that's, and then the chambers of South Padre, Port Isabel, they have a big crowd too.
Throw a big golf tournament. Lmwd golf tournament. See, you end with a great joke. Man, that was a good presentation right there. Thank you very much for all your efforts.
well, we'll go back to it and we'll improve it, and then we'll provide a revised presentation.
Do we need,
Keep working on it if we have to.
do we need a workshop for the next meeting coming up on the 22nd? Before also, do we need to discuss more bond issue related stuff on the
I think
22nd?
we should, better than the 5th. I think it'd be better off on the 22nd. What is it?
Is the
committee meeting
again
before that time?
Yeah.
Now, how's that 8-minute video on the bond going to be used?
That I don't know yet.
Yeah.
The one we saw last night.
Oh, that was
Video.
a 6 minute.
Well, whatever it
Holy
is.
smokes.
That one
That's a long
would
video.
be, I'm thinking of putting it like, not at the same time you're doing this presentation. This will be by itself. I think one that I can be up there later, maybe the second meeting on the second round. We'll do that one.
How about, let's say for instance, you're supposed to be at South Padre Island on the 15th of the month for this presentation. How about for the meeting before, you show that little 8-minute video and then tell them at the next meeting, we're going to have the full presentation.
We could also embed it in the presentation
Yeah,
itself.
but then it gets too long.
Yeah, that's the problem. It gets too long.
too
They
long.
deviate from listening and they'll do something else.
Okay.
But we'll do that.
Just something
First
to
one,
think about.
video.
Or it could just be on the
Yeah, the
website, and you
second
could
one will be
reference,
your
hey,
presentation.
go to the website for a comprehensive
Yeah, but we
video.
can also
6
mention
minutes
that
is,
it'll be on the website too.
6 minutes is long. I would definitely mention it, but if you're going to embed it in your presentation, it would be through still imagery. It would not be through a 6-minute B-roll, in my opinion.
No, they're two separate things.
No, I understand that, but I don't know. I haven't seen the video, so it may be
I think it'll be best the first time.
Golden Globe, I don't know.
The second time, we'll go with you, the second meeting, we'll set it up.
Just gotta be careful when you play it the first time that you don't open yourself up to a bunch of people having immediate questions, and,
You're not prepared.
yeah, that's the only reason I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, we discussed the questions and answers, and we're gonna come back on Monday, the 20th, and make sure that we have everything, and we're gonna be consistently answering the same, everybody for those
Great. If
questions.
you play the video, you gotta be ready for 10 minutes of
Well,
questions.
that's what you
right?
tell them at the next meeting, we're going to have a presentation by the engineers, and we're ready to answer any questions.
This is just a teaser. Stay
Yeah.
tuned. You're gonna love it.
It's a real good
6
video.
But it's a good video,
6-minute teaser.
it's got a little animated, like little bugs floating, like bacteria, giardia, what else? Cryptosporidium, like little.
Yeah, those graphics really
Ugly
catch your
stuff.
attention.
Good. It's a teaser. So we're gonna play this, we're gonna answer questions at the next meeting. So talk to your friends, come back, and we'll have a presentation that just want
Yeah.
to wet your whistle with it. That makes sense. As opposed to playing it and then getting up there and then getting, shell shocked and stuff.
So y'all think, y'all can handle a workshop on the 22nd, and we can see that video again?
And handle a workshop at
I'm all in
7:30
on
tonight. Let's
workshops.
go.
I'm having perfect attendance in the year 2020. It's my New Year's resolution to this district.
Oh, good.
I didn't get anything out of you. I'll stop.
I didn't get anything for my perfect attendance last year. I'm still waiting. But
Your nuts are right
you
there.
told me, Carlos, I got
Um,
some. I was the only one.
So 22nd, we will be at 4:30. Is that correct?
You're the only one that got a cup today.
Oh, am I? Well, there we go. I did get something. Thank you.
Okay,
Workshop 4:30, 22nd.
yes.
Okay.
Okay, glad we clarified that. Thank you, Charles. Let's move along to item 10. Consider and discuss for possible approval the financial reports for September of 2019. So everyone had a chance to look at those, review them. Can we get an acknowledgement? Anyone in particular you want to pull out? I'm sorry, that's 11. We're on 10.
We're on 10, right?
I'm all over the board today.
It's okay.
Getting tuned.
You're
Yeah,
forgetting.
you were, Tim.
Yes. Move we approve.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Houston, seconded by Dr. Lalonde. All those in favor?
Aye.
We are. None opposed.
Good job. Well done.
Good job, Eddie. 11, consider and review expenditures from December 1st, 2019 through December 30th, 2019. Any questions on anyone in particular, comments, anything? Want to discuss one in particular, or a motion to acknowledge all of them?
Move to acknowledge.
Acknowledged by Mr. Houston. Acknowledged by Mr. Houston.
Just want to give you a chance to prove you were at the meeting today.
I
That's all.
second.
Second acknowledgement made by
Thank
Mr.
you.
Starkey. Thank you. Let's move along to item number 12. executive session permitted by the Open Meetings Act, VTCA Government Code, Section 551001, ed sequence under Section 551071, consultation with attorney, Section 551072, deliberation about real property. Item A, consider and discuss the 2-acre tract next to the Port Isabel wastewater treatment plant with Garcia Doherty interest. Item B, update on legal matters concerning ratepayers' appeal of the raw water rate. If I may at this time, ask to go into executive session at 6:36 PM. Motion made by Dr. Lalonde.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Starkey. Are all those in favor?
Aye.
We are in executive session. If I may ask those not involved with the executive session, if they can dismiss themselves. Need a motion to come out of executive session at 6:59 PM.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Houston.
Second.
Second by Mr. Starkey. All those in favor?
Aye.
They are. We're out of executive session. Item A, consider and discuss a 2-acre tract next to Port Isabel wastewater treatment plant with Garcia Doherty interest. Need a motion to proceed as directed.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Starkey,
So second.
seconded by Mr. Houston. All those in favor?
Aye.
They are. Item B, update on legal matters concerning ratepayers' appeal of raw water. No action at this time. Meeting is adjourned at 7 PM. Thank you, everyone, for your time. Happy New Year, and let's have a motion to adjourn, made by Mr. Houston, seconded by Mr. Starkey. All those in favor? They are. Meeting is adjourned.